Good Tuesday morning.
Somebody's feeling good.
Somebody's annoyed today, folks.
Really. Could be any one of about 20 things.
No, I hate people with an astronomical amount of talent that are coarse. It bothers the heck out of me. We'll get into that. Bruce Cooper's joining. I wonder what his thoughts are going to be later on in the show as well. But it's going to dominate the show, folks, because I'm pissed off about it. We need to talk about it. I'm your humble host, Stephen McCollum, and 17-year NFL veteran. I wonder if he had anybody just not show up for a game out there with his 3-time Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys as well. Folks, he went to the AFC Championship game with the Bills. Sat on the bench on the injured list on the Raiders for a year before he went to the Cowboys. At SMU, they were paying money left and right. Some guys turned them in because they didn't get playing time. And those guys probably still showed up to practice and games, probably. Dale Hillistrace here, everybody.
Boy, oh boy. You got a lot of energy. I feel the negativity, but before we get into all that, I have more stress than the Diamondbacks.
This is funny. You're willing to pay somebody to go do this for you, folks.
So I had to turn my car in. There were some things that needed to be done to it.
You took it to the shop.
Yeah, and to the dealership, and they gave you a loaner car, and it's fine. Everything's fine.
Oh, so you have a loaner out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not your keys.
Everything's fine, except the keys are somewhere in there, and I can't find them.
Maybe the new cars don't have keys anymore.
No, they handed me one. I put it in my pocket at one time. I had to take it out. Last time I remember holding them, I picked Grandma up from school yesterday. Again, it's a loaner car, so I'm like, I thought that when you put it into park, all the doors open. Well, the back right one where he gets in doesn't open. So now I'm scrambling for my keys to try and hit unlocks. I don't know where the unlock is in the car. Finally get it unlocked. Meanwhile, there's people behind me, in front of me at the pickup line.
And you don't mess around with the pickup line. People lose their mind.
Yes, they do.
Because then, did you have to get out? Because then if you even open the door, people freak out.
Well, I opened the door because I thought, okay, that'll open all the doors. Nope, that didn't do it either. And the last thing I remember was opening the door inside the car. Get to Hillary and Scott's house, drop him off, go inside to hang out with Avery for a little bit. I'm like, I don't have the keys. Oh, they have to be right here. No. So I had to park the car outside last night. Keys are somewhere in it.
Why'd you have to park the car outside? Oh, because wait. Oh, you forgot your garage opener, didn't you?
No, I got my garage door opener.
But that's what I always forget. Every time I go take a car in someplace, I'm like, grab the garage door opener.
Yeah.
And then I get halfway home and I go, dang it, I forgot the garage door opener.
Yeah.
Dang it.
So there's somewhere in there I've offered a Find Seekers award to young Ethan.
With clean eyes.
With young 18-year-old eyes.
Yeah.
And I got so mad yesterday. They have to be right here.
I've been that way before. And it's fun. I've been that place where I'm like, I'm afraid to turn the car off because I might not be able to restart it. You know, and you're 30 miles from the house or something, and you're like, what if they're sitting on the desk at the house? And it was close enough to fire up. Yeah, that's stressful, man.
But I mean, I drove to Hillary and Scott's house, drove home, drove here.
It's when you turn it off. If you have it on and you lose them, it stays on. At least my cars have in the past.
Well, I turned it off last night, got in this morning, it started. So they're in the car.
Yeah, they're in there somewhere. That's hilarious.
Oh.
And they're probably black, like the floor matting or whatever.
Yeah, it matches inside. And I'm like, I mean, Ketel Marte, that's monkey business compared to my damn keys for crying out.
All I'm going to say, Dale, is you can't find your car keys on the loaner yesterday, and you're frustrated as all heck. We've all been there. You're like, what? I know it's right here. You can't find it anywhere. All of that's happening to you.
Yeah.
You still showed up today.
I did show up today. Now, I thought about calling in.
Well, but here's the difference. You would have called in. You would have sent a text going, I can't drive my car. I don't have a car to get there.
I'd have called in and said, Steve, I think I'm going to be there.
You would have at least let me know and given me a heads up. and not just not showing up.
Therein lies that rub.
It's not difficult, folks. In today's, it's not like the old days where you had to go find a payphone someplace and or beg somebody to use a phone and dial a number to call somebody. A little easier nowadays.
Well, maybe he left his cell phone in Atlanta.
Or maybe he left it in the Dominican Republic.
Ooh. No, they said he's in the hotel.
Well, Tori said he didn't know. We have had some insights since last night. I woke up this morning to find out because we knew he was there. He was on the plane right there.
Explain to the people who did not hear it.
He didn't show up.
Ketel Marte
just didn't show up to work yesterday.
And it all became a thing because 8 minutes before the game, the lineup card still wasn't in.
And it wasn't in.
Yeah.
And then they put out Fernandez is now with the team, and Marte's on the reserve list. And a lot of
restricted.
I think it's reserved is what they call it, but it's a restricted list. But basically, a lot of people don't know what that list is.
Right.
That list is for people that legal issues and they can't play. You don't have to, but you can withhold their paychecks from them while they accrue time, all that. It's a punishment list. Unless it's something to do with like non-baseball stuff, like you have serious family issues.
Right.
And you got to go deal with that. That's that list is for. But the more even on the broad, and then so the lineup's out 7 minutes before game time yesterday, and you're going, what is happening? So your first thoughts are you hope everything's good, safe, whatever. But the longer the game went on with the broadcasters going, again, we don't know anything about this. If it was a personal matter, I firmly believe the Diamondbacks would have said, Ketel Marte woke up this morning, has a personal issue that we will not discuss with anyone. He's handling that today, and we will have more information as we get to it later today, tomorrow, whatever the situation is. Dale, they didn't do any of that.
Nope.
They didn't do any of that. So that just sets the stage to what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, and you could tell the emotion on Torey Lovullo's face.
I'm torn on what the emotion meant. I think I know what the emotion meant, but I'm torn on it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that coming up as well for that. But bottom line is, I get it. Marte fans, you love him to death, and he can do no wrong to you. I get it. Coming at me on the social medias isn't going to help my opinion of the situation. The bottom line is whether it's personal issues, whether he just didn't want to play yesterday, whether it's whatever it is inexcusable to not reach out to somebody and let them know.
Inexcusable.
Completely.
And especially for a guy who's done this before.
And then you find out, Dale, that's the problem. He did this last year in the Dominican.
Yeah.
He was there. He wouldn't respond to anybody. And then they send a text threatening suspension. And all of a sudden he starts texting galore. Oh, I'm in the Dominican. When they threaten suspension on him. It's complete. That's the bottom line here. Regardless of the reason, zero excuse not to reach out to somebody and talk to him.
Well, and here's one other thing that I learned about that last year thingy. Was when he finally answered the phone from whoever it was that he picked the phone up for, they could tell by something in the phone records that he was in the Dominican.
Yeah.
He hadn't told anybody.
No, yeah.
And when he answered it, and I didn't know that, it's like there's a lot of things that I know I didn't know real quick. I didn't know this. This happened a couple years ago.
Technology, Dale.
An Evite. I didn't know if somebody sends you an Evite and you read it and you get it, you open it, and you don't respond to it.
It shows you opened it.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't know that.
That's why those things are dangerous. That's why I have so many unopened emails. I don't open an email or a text unless I'm planning on looking at it because it can go back to them. Yeah. There's ways to do that. Even if you turn it off, it can still go to them and stuff like that. Yeah, no, it's the bottom line is that keep this in mind throughout the whole discussion throughout the show today. The bottom line is whatever the situation is, you have to let somebody know. You can't just ghost people and disappear. Then we're finding out 98.7's doing this reporting. I saw somebody else posted as well. I don't remember who. He was in the Boston bar at around 11 p.m.
The night before the game.
The night before the game, Sunday night, after they landed.
Yeah.
And I have questions. Torrey said some things yesterday. Torrey kept implying, like, I knew some things yesterday morning, but I'm not going to get into it. And then he's like, oh, there was discussions in the clubhouse on the situation. Everybody hopes he's okay. And then you saw Perdomo speak and Corbin Carroll speak after the game. Nobody has a clue. He didn't give Perdomo a heads up. Hey, man, I got to go deal with this. He didn't give anybody a heads up. That is unacceptable, folks. You try that at your job today. You try that anywhere around baseball. You don't just not show up and not tell people where you are. Now, I'll give somebody some slack. You have a family, your wife, your kid has an issue, and you find out about it, and you panic a little bit. And you're in a strange town in Boston, and your kids are someplace else, and you panic a little bit, and you just like, I got to get to the airport, I got to get there. You know, and even if you text somebody and go, hey, man, I got to deal with this, and you just disappear that way, I'll give you some slack for that. But you have to notify people. You might get in trouble because they didn't authorize you to leave, but I'll give you some slack for having to go deal with something if you have to, and it's against the rules, but you still go deal with it. I'll give you slack on that. You have to notify somebody. That's the bottom line in this whole conversation today. You need to keep in mind, Marte fans. I had a guy come at me and go, it's a personal matter. None of your business. Okay, I agree. Text him. Text him. Text him. That's all you got to do. Send a text. This is happening. I'm not coming to the ballpark today. I got to deal with this. Cool. Even if the team doesn't like it, I'll forgive you for that. And here's the other side of it. I don't care what you say today. The other side of it is, there's a track record of this. And there's a track record of it happening in a playoff push. That's unacceptable for your superstar. It's unacceptable, Dale. That was a big game last night against an opponent. You're in a playoff push. You're battling it out with everybody. And you don't have the courtesy to give people a heads up hours before the game. They're still hoping you're going to show up 8 minutes before the game. That's why they held the lineup. The Diamondbacks could have done the simple thing, which they don't do. They could have gone and they could have said, they could have just been like, put the lineup up an hour ahead of time and just had Marte out of the lineup. And they didn't. They held it. They held it expecting him to show up. That tells you. I had somebody come at me and go, well, it's because Fernandez wasn't there. They could have played without Fernandez, folks. They didn't need him on that roster. Yes, he ended up starting. They didn't need him there. They could have played a game without Fernandez. They held it because they were waiting for him to show. They were under the impression he was showing up at that time. That's just unacceptable, Dale. Could you imagine? Could you imagine Cowboys back in the day and nobody can get a hold of Troy? 10 minutes before game time, you're like, maybe he's showing up. Maybe he's showing up.
Right.
Maybe he's showing up. Just, folks, think about it for a minute. I know you have love for Marte, you Marte fans. I'm not disputing you on that. But you at least have to admit what he pulled yesterday was completely unacceptable, no matter what the reason. No matter what the reason, not notifying somebody is unacceptable.
The standard protocol. Something bad happens. What if your wife gets sick, a kid gets sick, somebody
major
passes
car
away,
accident. Exactly.
Whatever. Yeah. A text to somebody, hey, this has happened. I'll be in touch as soon as I can.
Yes.
Hey.
And at least they know something's up. Like, okay, we need to prepare to be without him today.
Right.
That's all you do. I guarantee you there's a person in that organization 2 a.m, 4 a.m, 2 p.m, 10 a.m. I guarantee you there's a person in that organization that is designated to accept those deals. I just got arrested for a DUI. That guy gets that text.
Yep.
And it gets spread throughout from there. I guarantee it's there. It's just that's the part that rifles me the most here. It's just ridiculous that people are dismissing the fact he doesn't notify you.
Well, again, I'm going to bring it back to a little bit more personal. Obviously, I was not Ketel Marte to the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, so let's get that out of the way immediately.
You're not comparing yourself.
No. But in a situation, my dad passed away during training camp.
Mm-hmm.
They knew. In fact, Jerry Jones flew me and my wife and kids back here on his private plane. So they knew. Now, the whole thing was when I was coming back, and all I got from them was, you take as much time as you want, but please let us know when you plan on coming back so we can make our plans.
Yeah, that's the proper way to handle it.
And of course, I was in constant contact with him just to let him know, and I appreciate everything he did for me. And I look at Ketel Marte, and how can you not appreciate everything the Diamondbacks have done for you?
And when we played the Torrey clip here coming up, we're talking about this, and then when Bruce Cooper comes in, obviously we're going to talk about it with him. But I can't figure out if Torrey after the game yesterday, because he's emotional.
Yes, he is.
I can't figure out, and I believe one way over the other, I can't figure out if he's genuinely worried for Marte's safety or whatever's happening to him, or if he's just pissed that he's getting burned again for a guy that he keeps defending. I can't figure it out, but I suspect I have the answer. And this shit, he put the whole team in a bad light yesterday.
Here's the thing: when the coach, when the general manager, when the president all go out on a limb for you, okay, hey,
just a few months ago,
you go to Dominican Republic unannounced, you don't get permission.
Yeah, he didn't get on the plane back to Phoenix after the All-Star game, and he went and did his own thing and didn't tell anybody.
Right.
That's what happened.
And you don't tell anybody, and then they have you. Your punishment is you sit down in front of the team and apologize and all that, and he did that supposedly. But you went out on a limb for that guy. Mm-hmm. You feel that you have a different kinship with him, and you always do with your best players. That's the thing that from the time I was 10 years old, you realize in sports. The better you are, the better treatment you get. Yes. The more leeway you get. Yes. You can say it's not fair, whatever.
Dale, it's like that in the real world, too.
I'm sure it is. The more money you bring in to the company, guess what? The more leeway you get. Mm-hmm. But when you go out on a limb for a guy, and then he does it again, this time, 2-3 weeks later than the All-Star break.
Well, that's the thing, Dale. They did it. They did it just when that Bob Nightingale story came out earlier this season. They all came out and defended him.
Right.
Just months ago. On top of it, it's just you hope Marte's okay with whatever's happening. That's all you can say from that perspective. But folks, there is no excuse to not let somebody know. That's the thing you have to keep in mind in this, especially the All-Star thing. There was no games to deal with. He ended up missing a couple games, but when they found out about no games, this was 8 minutes before game time when they had to make a decision. You forced the team. That's how much respect you have for your manager and your team. You wait till 8 minutes beforehand and force them. You could have sent a text an hour or two later. I ain't going to be there today, guys. At a minimum, you could say that. They were waiting and waiting and waiting the whole time. And here's the other side of it. On a separate side, and we haven't even delved into the meat of it yet. I'm interested in seeing, because trust me, the Marte lovers who hate the media talking negative about Marte are out there. They were on my feed last night and this morning. And that's fine, and everything. I wonder how many diehard Marte fans are going to be like, that's enough. This is enough. I wonder he's going to ruin it on that side as well. That'll be fascinating to see how that kind of goes as time goes on. Well, go ahead.
What's interesting is reading through all the stuff that I read through last night after you hear about this and then this morning. And, again, it'll be interesting to see, was that Torey Lovullo being emotional and upset because, again, just like any person, if I put my reputation online and I hang myself out to dry for you, and then you burn me again, that hurts. And you got
You're
a guy
pissed.
with a relationship with 10 years with this kid.
Anybody that's been around an alcoholic that in your family or a drug user in your family, and you've dealt with those demons, it's two different things. Don't get me wrong, but you defend them and you defend them and you defend them. You try to help them, and you just keep getting. Eventually, you're like, I can't keep doing this.
Right. So through all that, again, it'll all come out in the wash here in the next couple of days. The only thing that I sat there and I did a double take was when Torey Lovullo came out and said, we care for Cattell once we knew he was okay. So they're saying he's okay.
They said during the game it started to come out that he's fine physically. He's dealing with a personal issue is what started to leak out as the game went on.
Right. And he said we knew he was okay. So I think everybody relaxed and started to focus on the game.
Yeah.
I don't know if they focused on the game.
That is the biggest pile of bull crap we've ever heard from Torey Lovullo. And the biggest lies Torey Lovullo tells the media and the public is around Ketel Marte. When the Bob Nightingale story came out, he flat out said, this doesn't fracture the locker room. I saw Marte and Perdomo's interviews yesterday on the broadcast after the game.
Not Marte.
I'm sorry, Corbin Carroll.
Yeah.
On Marte. They were not happy answering those questions. Here's the bigger picture, and this is what I want to set this up with before we start just attacking. That's what I'm going to do today, folks. The biggest issue to me is the disrespect he has now shown to the franchise, again, by not just simply giving a heads up.
Yep.
Especially to a coach and a general manager that he can walk in 3 days before the end of his season in a playoff push 2 years ago and say, can I have a day off today on a playoff push? And they went, okay. They have been more than willing to give him time off when he asked for it.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't even show that respect to those guys doing that for you. And then on top of it, what you just did to your teammates. Dale, I know you haven't been in a Major League Baseball locker room. You can handle a DUI. You can handle a rape charge in the case of Irvin. That's false. You can, right? All of that stuff out away from the football field, but you show up and play, you can kind of get around that. But somebody not showing up, you're a game away you're in the playoffs and somebody doesn't show up. You're pushing for the playoff. You have to win this game. And some key player doesn't show up to the game. I'm sorry, folks. If that doesn't screw up your locker room, you don't have the right locker room, in my opinion. Tell me as a 17-year NFL veteran how that works.
And I will say, and I'll say this whenever we talk about this, at the end of the day, whatever is personal, whatever the reason he wasn't there, personal reason, death in the family, whatever, he's having mental issues, I don't know. Whatever the issue is, you call Perdomo, who's your best friend.
You call your friends.
You call or text Torey, who you know has your back.
Yeah, that's my point.
And you let them know, hey, I'm in a bad spot, and they're going to ask, what can we do for you?
I'm not in the right mental state.
Yeah, and they're going to move into recover mode, rescue mode, whatever they can do to help you out.
Absolutely.
If it is in fact that.
And he chose not to go down that deal. Did not, just chose. And I get it. And I'm not saying this is the kid. I've thought for a while that Marte has a mental, and I don't mean this negatively. It could just be a stage fright for big moments. Professional players have that, folks. They're human. It could be as simple as that. I'm not saying he's, mentally where he needs to be in a hospital. I'm not saying that stuff. I'm saying I think Marte has a mental block in him where things get stressful and he doesn't necessarily handle it right. And that's what sports psychologists are for and all of that stuff.
But Steve, I would argue.
But it's hard to talk about that stuff, Dale.
I would say it's really hard to talk about, but you have at least got to give your teammates and your manager a heads up.
You've got somebody, there has to be somebody that he could have sent a word to, and they would have been like, we need to check on. Not knowing if he's in the room afterwards was alarming to me. Get somebody over there knocking on that door.
Right. Well,
if you know he's not showing up, you go check on the guy. Did they do that? We don't know. To be fair, we don't know.
Well, when Torrey says when we found out he was okay,
yeah,
we were so
I questioned some of that stuff.
I'm very sure that an hour and a half, at least an hour before the game, he's not there. That they're sending a search party.
Yeah. I remember when, and I'm not saying it's the same thing, but when that Cardinals pitcher died, what's his name? Kyle? Oh my gosh, I forgot. Right in the middle of the scene. He didn't show up to the ballpark. They sent somebody to his room and they found him. Unfortunately, he died in his sleep, right? And was still in bed and stuff like that. Like, that's the first thing you do.
Yep.
But then if you reach out to him and you find out he's okay, how can we help you? What's going on today?
Right.
I wouldn't, and I get it. It's tough to reach out. But the Diamondbacks would know if those issues were there as well, to where they'd be protective of it, assign somebody to him, those types of things, to watch him, and stuff like that. Then there's stories of him being at the bar at 11 p.m. the night before. Does that mean he just woke up with a raging, Daryl Kyle? Thank you, Robert. I was going to say Kyle something. Daryl Kyle there with the Cardinals back in the day. And our buddy John Holmberg got in a lot of trouble for that with one of his guys on the show. I remember that vividly. But, it's just, there's no reason to not let people know. That's the gist of where I come from on this story. You've let your teammates down. You've let your franchise down. You've let the guys defending the heck out of you down. You've let everybody down. And then on top of it, how do you come back from this? The distraction when he comes back to this team, whether it be today, a week from now, 2 weeks from now, the distraction this is going to bring to a team in a playoff race is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. That's how little he thinks of his team and his teammates. And it makes me angry. It makes me angry. It made me angry last year when he took a ball off his foot. Blaze Alexander's elbow is the size of a basketball with things on it. And Robert says this, the so-called leadership and their vagueness is making it worse. I've said all along, and you guys know this, protect Marte to the nth degree. When they found out he wasn't going to be there and they put that line out 7 minutes late, it was very simple for them to say, we're putting Marte on the reserve list. Marte has a personal thing he's dealing with. We can't tell you about it. Boom. That would have just squashed everything. And everybody would have been, oh, we hope Marte's okay. Instead, they left us guessing for 9 innings. And then afterwards kind of made it worse on top of it. Like, protect the guy yourself, which also tells me, Dale, Diamondbacks might be a little pissed off about this.
I think that says a whole lot about
because last year they didn't put him on the reserve list. Remember? They threatened to, and then he responded. And then they're just like, oh, he's going to miss a couple games. Earlier this year they defended him. The fact that they made this move tells me, because they knew what it was going to do, tells me they might be done with this now, with this move now. It's going to be fascinating to see. Ann says, I have been a huge Marte supporter since he became a D-back. I'm hugely disappointed with these antics. We all want the best from Marte. It's just no other guy in baseball does this. No, name another player that's done this, folks. I'll wait.
It's hard to come up with one. I'm sure there has been one if you go over the years of baseball, but I can't remember it.
He was just going to be the DH yesterday on top of it. Wasn't even going to play.
Well, my argument about big games was going to be, they won 2 out of 3 from Atlanta. This is a Monday night game. The Monday game in Boston.
Dale, you're in a playoff hunt, man.
Yeah. But so some are...
Ask for the day off. We know Marte asks for days off. At a minimum, ask for the day off, and they'll give it to you. Oh. And then we'll all be mad about that. It's like it's been escalated to an unacceptable level now, in my eyes.
Went from 0 to 120.
I don't like him asking for days off in the playoff chase, but if he needs a day off, by golly, give him a day off. Because hopefully he comes back better, stronger, bigger, whatever. I don't like it, but that's your MO. Let's do it. And then you pull this stuff. Unacceptable on so many standards, so many levels. out there as well. Then Dale, and like I said, we haven't played the clip yet because I'm going to have to try to keep my language, healthy here for this thing. 2 quotes yesterday, and I tweeted one of them out there when I heard him say it from Torrey after the game. And I'll show you this clip here coming up. We deal with a lot as baseball managers and coaches and teachers. So, sometimes you get disappointed. Sometimes they let you down. But we're going to figure out how to work through this. Baseball managers, coaches, teachers shouldn't have to deal with this because you're a professional and you're getting paid $16 million a year. It's almost like he's accepting it and being like, sometimes you get let down. It's okay.
I distinctly believe there's a strong difference in the way Torrey reacted to this last night to what he did after the All-Star break.
Reason why I read that quote to you, because I don't want to show you the clip here until we kind of sum everything up, our thoughts on it,
right,
before I show it to you. I read it to you because I'm sitting here going, baseball managers don't deal with guys not showing up to the ballpark. Coaches and teachers don't show with guys not showing up to the ballpark. Now, if it's a practice, a guy might miss batting practice one day or might not make infield. That happens. Basketball, right? Allen Iverson, practice. We're talking about practice. I was just watching a story the other day of Kurt Warner. He was asking when he was in college why his friend asked why he wasn't playing. And the coach was like, he doesn't practice well. And he realized 95% of what I do is practice.
Right.
I've got to do that good. Because if I don't do that good, I'm not going to get on the field. And guys will miss practice left and right. But a game? But then Mike Hazen came out, according to Steve Gilbert, in his weekly news, in his newsletter from last night. It was unfortunate that he wasn't there tonight, unquote, Mike Hazen. Oh, is that it? Or was it just unfortunate? Was it that it? Oh, it was just unfortunate he didn't make it. What does that mean?
Well, again, with the lack of information, there's so many things that could be going through their mind, too. Is Marte forcing their hands? He wants to be released. He doesn't like Arizona. He doesn't want to be here.
I get that.
Is it really there is some mental issues going on and he needs to take care of them? But again, you're not going to get any better help than going to your team and asking for help.
Yeah. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm assuming there are Diamondbacks have sports psychologists on the call, if not on the staff.
And I guarantee you this, because it's even around back when I was playing, some guys don't feel comfortable going to a team sponsor guy. They have names of people.
His agent has somebody. His agent goes, hey, call Dr. Park.
You at least call your agent, don't you? And your agent then...
Is he? That's what I want to know. I want to know if his agent is blindsided by this. That's what I want to know. I want to know. Well, we'll find out. There's ways to find that out, meaning his agent drops him or vice versa or something to that effect as well. But it's just like, I didn't expect the Diamondbacks to come out and be like, he's off the team, he's terrible. Everything's fixable in this world, folks. Especially in sports when you're really good, right, Dale? But there is a limit, right? There's a bunch of guys were running through my head last night. Other sports, of course, but, people eventually get... LeBron James been on a bunch of teams because people get tired of dealing with him. Right? Allen Iverson, people got tired of dealing with his antics and stuff to that effect, that stuff. The numerous baseball players have been moved on because, they don't fit in with the team and people don't like them. Suarez last year, not Suarez, the first baseman, I just forgot his name, Naylor, kind of a quirky guy. Kirk Gibson famously ran, a pitcher out of town because he didn't like the way he warmed up. Happens all the time out there. All the time. And the Diamondbacks just keep being like, it's okay. It's okay out there.
As you sit there and watch just what happened, because again, it wasn't like, hey, there's murmurs coming out of the clubhouse that there's something bubbling under the surface. Hey, you hear some things in Atlanta or or he didn't get on the plane to go to Boston, or
yes,
you heard nothing.
Yeah, I just Diamondbacks talked to him obviously and found out some information,
right?
But
well, here's the other thing.
They don't know the gist of it.
Here's the other thing about it. It's like you're rooting for nothing to be seriously wrong.
Absolutely.
You're rooting as a person, as a fan, as just a human being. But if you root for that and he shows up today and says, everything's fine.
Yeah.
Well, now that begs a whole new bag of questions.
I hate to say this, but he needs to miss like a week or something to then you kind of be like, all right, he had something big happen. He needed to deal with it. Cool. We understand that. It's just Corbin Carroll, if you missed it after the game, said he did have a brief text exchange with Marte, but he didn't know what caused him to miss the game. Perdomo, right? Very, very good friends on this team. If not the closest friend he's got, then definitely one of the top two there. He was surprised Marte wasn't there. Dale, if something would have happened to you, you would have been like, hey, Troy, FYI.
Yeah.
Michael. And they would have been like, we don't need him anyway.
No.
And moved on with their day.
Right.
We'll let them know.
The Cowboys wouldn't have lost 11-1 if I didn't show up.
But you reach out to people.
Yeah.
You reach out to your friends.
At least one person.
Like yeah. Yeah. It just that's where your head kind of just goes to places. But Perdomo said, I don't know anything. I just came here to play, and I didn't see him here, and we haven't talked yet. At the end of the day, we are a family, and we're going to support everybody no matter what. We just came here to play, and that's the only goal we have right now, just to win. Well, there's one guy that doesn't come to play. One guy that doesn't. And it's fascinating to see. And I just, like I said, you hope Marte's safe. That's the bottom line. You hope whatever the situation is, whether it's with him, family members, he like I said, there's no way to say mental health issue without making it sound like, something bad's about to happen. Like he's I'm not saying that side of it. I just think that he's got something in his brain when high pressure, big moments where he's relied on are coming up, something triggers and he just retreats a little bit. And that's okay. To be honest with you, is it what you want from your superstar? No. But let's get him the help he needs so, he can be a happy person and not go through this. Because whatever he went through yesterday couldn't have been a good thing. For you not to show, Dale, what would it have taken, for you not to show up to a football game? I mean, would have had to have been.
Right.
Monumentally, mentally draining, whatever, where you're not thinking straight. You don't just wake up and go, I'm not showing up to work today. You just don't do that.
Well, then you wonder if he's around with a group of friends at 11 o'clock at night at the hotel bar. What could possibly have between midnight and 10 o'clock the next morning?
The obvious conclusion to draw from that, if you're guessing, is drinks a little too much, and then it affects his mind the next day. I mean, you all have woken up with a hangover the next day, and you want to, just crawl into a hole and disappear.
Nothing like the crack of a bat to snap you out of it, Steve.
They call them angry drunks for not him, but I'm saying angry drunks for a reason. The nicest people normally they drink, and all of a sudden they're angry people and stuff to that effect. It is a fascinating situation with a team that's right in the middle of the playoff hunt right now. Throw up the wild card standings, if you will, here, Ethan, for me. If I put them on the screen, right? You lost last night. You lost 2 in a row, but Padres lost. Phillies, I don't believe, played yesterday out there. So you're right there. You're still in it. And that's where you get kind of disappointing. I just firmly believe something like this will fracture a locker room. And does ask on the YouTube chat as well, could this lead to a manager change?
No, because this decision, whatever happens with him, is going to go higher than Torey Lovullo.
It's above him. But could he be blamed for allowing the situation to get to this point? Because it's not the first time. If this was time number 1, okay. Dale, 3 years ago, he did this leading up to the end of the season when they were in the playoff hunt and they miss it on the last day. He pulled a stunt and asked for a day off. Then the All-Star game last year. Then he missed the game at the end of last year in the playoff push because he fell the ball off his foot and didn't want to go out and play. And then now this year, the story earlier this year, and now this. It's just, it's just there. Robert says it seems equivalent to not parenting your kid, right? Just letting your kid do whatever he wants, and then you're shocked he's an a-hole. and he just does stuff. Yeah, it's just leadership. Unfortunately, it shows leadership in this organization is lacking. Now, I'll give them credit. They put him on the reserve list yesterday. That tells you something because they didn't do that before. They've never done that before on top of it.
Right.
As well.
Which
and everything.
Also leads you to believe that this was not a tragic situation that happened.
I firmly believe we would have. This is where, if it was a family personal issue, something to that effect, they wouldn't have told us what it was, but they would have said he has a family personal issue he's dealing with. We're giving him some time off. And it squashes it.
Mm-hmm.
The Diamondbacks didn't protect him in this moment, which tells you something. And that's kind of the point here. The lack of information from the Diamondbacks is telling you something. Because if they would have come out and said, right off the bat, hey, he's going on the reserve list, he's dealing with some stuff.
There's a family emergency.
We have to work it out. Even if you say family, just Marte's out, he's on the reserve list, he's dealing with some personal issues, going to be without him for a little bit. We'll address you as we can later on. And we all would have been like, we hope he's okay. It's just an amazing thing that's kind of happened out there and stuff to deal with. From that perspective. So that's where we stand as of now. Take our break here and everything. It's just 8 minutes before a game for a lineup card tells you they were waiting.
Well, it was interesting because I was driving yesterday and I turned on 98.7 and Burns and Gamble were on and Gamble's like, it's whatever, 30 minutes before the game and the lineup card hasn't been turned in yet. And he said, I'm going to start checking in on this stuff. And then 8 minutes before the lineup card comes out.
Well, so like I was taking a little nap there. And then I'd go pick up my daughter and go drop her off at her mom's house. And I'm driving and I'm like, this game starts in like 10 minutes.
Right.
I'm like, what did I miss? Then I saw Fernandez in for Marte on the reserve list. And I went, that's interesting. And then I was like, why was Fernandez even there waiting? Well, if Arenado had to go on the IL, he was there in case they put him on. Which also tells you Arenado's going on the IL, folks. They just didn't make that move yesterday to do it. But then, of course, they put J-Mart on the roster. They DFA'd Hoffman. Locklear went down, which surprised me for a first baseman. Kind of surprised me a little bit that they made that move there. So they made all those moves, and I was like, wait, there is no lineup. I didn't even recognize it. I was like, wait, there is no lineup. What the heck? Did I miss it? Like, what's up? And then boom, it pops out. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. I didn't think of it. I'm like, that's it. Then I was even like, that's a weird lineup. All right, whatever. And I'm like, but, so then I'm driving. Then you hear the beginning part of the thing where they say, Marte's not here, not in the lineup, on the reserve list. We don't know what happened. We hope everything's good. And I'm just sitting there going, kind of weird beforehand. All right, whatever. But I'll reserve judgment. Then you start seeing the stories of how he's in town. Nobody's heard from him. Didn't show up to BP, and nobody had heard from him. And the fact the lineup was delayed because they were still expecting him to show up. And then you're like, all right, something's up. This is bigger than just because they would have just come out and said personal issue. They refused.
Well, the other interesting thing, if you want to, again, there's so many different weed holes you can go down. But I would think whatever time you're supposed to be at the ballpark, say it's 3 hours before the game.
Yeah.
It might be more, but say it's 3 hours, and now it's 2 hours before the game, and nobody's seen him.
Yeah, still haven't seen him.
Yeah. I'd probably release the lineup card then.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But do they want to try and embarrass him? Was there a message trying to be sent?
I strongly believe. This is what I think. And it's just speculation. I think there was communication to where they thought he was still going to make it for game time. So they were holding it and holding it and holding it. And then they're like, we can't hold it anymore.
I mean,
Let's
but
make the move.
99% of professional teams,
That's what
if they're supposed to be there at a certain time
you don't play.
and you're late, either you don't play or you don't start.
It's even worse than that. They could have protected him. This is my point here. They could have protected him by just putting the lineup up an hour ahead and just say we're giving Marte the day off. They could have just done that.
So that's what makes me wonder.
That's what tells you that maybe
was it done on purpose?
And the Diamondbacks are pissed about it because they made that move. There were ways to protect Marte yesterday that they chose not to do. That tells you so. That is a clue, Dale, in this process, if you want to break down and be a sleuth here as well.
And I watch Coop walk in here and say Marte for president. And
I put it out yesterday. I said, Ethan said, can we put a tracker on Marte so they can see where he is? Put an air tag on him. That's the thing. I put it out yesterday. I was like, I'm interested in hearing what Coop's take is on this. It's just this, again, my thing on this is distraction-wise. The team had to adjust yesterday, and they obviously looked like they didn't adjust yesterday. And then on top of it, even if it all gets settled out and everybody's hunky-dory, the second Marte's back with this team, distractions will go lower. And in time when distractions are not what you need, Dale. That's the problem that I have with this.
Lots of problems.
Come on back, folks. We'll keep going with the main event. And we're back here. Main event on Tuesdays. That means Bruce Cooper joins us here. The man, the myth, the legend, Bruce Cooper. And look, everybody manages to show up to work like they're supposed to around here. Apparently, it's not a hard thing to do, guys.
Well, before we let Bruce go loose and all that, I've told many people this, Bruce. I've been on the campus of Harvard one time in my life.
Why?
Because I was actually doing the Harvard Yale game.
They escorted him off right away.
They escorted me on and escorted me out immediately. And but there's just a different feeling around there. The air of smartness and intelligence seems to be around. I kind of feel that every Tuesday when you come walking in here. The air of greatness comes walking in here.
It's like it just
I was
lights flicker.
Going with him on it hard.
The air of greatness.
Hey, look, guys. I mean, everyone knows that this Ketel story is just huge. It's not going anywhere. I mean, I was stunned sitting there watching the game and hearing, our two great broadcasters give us the scoop on it. And they said, well, we'll have more post game on it. And so I from 11-1 game, I definitely would have long left. But
yeah, he was waiting.
I stayed around just because Berthume and Gonzo talked about the fact that they would have more on the Ketel Marte situations, and I'm listening to Torey, and clearly, Jody caught him off guard with a couple questions.
We haven't played it yet. We've just been talking about it. Okay. I have the clip. We're going to play it, but go ahead.
And I'm like, Torey's trying to protect this dude.
Okay.
I mean,
I was wondering what your take would be on that.
Why would you still try to protect this dude? I mean, look, at some point, you have to take the guardrails off. At some point, this guy has to be accountable. I listened to Torey from his own mouth. He said he had very little communication with Ketel, but he wanted to assure the reporters in there, Ketel is okay. Yeah. So my point is this. Okay, the fact that you had very little communication with him, you had some for him to tell you what's going on. I mean, you owe that to your manager. You owe that to your teammates, and the fact that he can't even communicate that. I mean, they still don't know what the heck's his problem.
Right.
That's the next step. We have to find out what it is. I'm sitting there listening to Corbin Carroll and Geraldo Perdomo say that, hey, well, let's first find out what the issue is. Is this a personal issue? Let's find out what it is. Find out what it is. Mm-hmm. You should already know what it is.
Right.
If I'm calling in sick, my teammates may know that I'm just calling in sick, but I've told my manager,
right.
or my boss what my issue is.
Right.
And and my boss will then let the whole team know this is the problem. He didn't even have that. He didn't have that.
Before we get all into
I have an
nuts and
update.
bolts of this, okay, you could go there.
I want to finish this, but I want to let everybody know we have an update.
Okay.
But so let's finish this conversation.
I just want to ask you one question before we get into the weeds with this thing. In your career, have you ever been interviewing a coach, general manager, owner in a situation where something has happened and you know something's happened and you push him and he gets mad at you? Can you remember a time where you said, you know what? No. That's not acceptable to me right now. I'm going to delve a little deeper.
You know, Dale, that's a good question.
I've had that in the corporate world.
I can't recall that off the top of my head. Yeah. And the fact that I can't recall it off the top of my head means that there was something that wasn't impactful regarding that question.
Right.
Because I would remember something like that.
Yeah.
The fact that I don't, is a problem. You know, and let me go this far. So guys, after listening to the entire post-game show on the Diamondbacks Network last night, I said, you know what? I'm done with Ketel.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already moved to my next steps. So my next steps are he's not coming off the restrictive list. He's staying on that damn restrictive list for the rest of this season. I'm going with the guys that are in that clubhouse who actually know what it is to be a family, who actually know what it is to be in a fight. They're in a pennant race, for crying out loud.
Yep.
And this dude is a no-show. That's unacceptable to me. Now, it better be a damn good reason. But see, I kept coming like this. I said, regardless of what that reason is, he had some communication, though it was little, some communication with Torey.
Right.
He could have expressed during that little time that he had with Torey what the nature of his absence is. He didn't do it. Man, I went as far as to looking up, how old is Ketel? I looked it up. He's 32, man.
Yeah.
He'll be 33 in October. He's a man.
Yeah.
He's a grown freaking man.
Yeah.
Dude, that's inexcusable what he did. So then I went another step forward. I said, since my next step is to keep him on the restrictive list, that I've already reduced his market value. And keep in mind, I understand he's a 10-5 guy, so he can really dictate where he's going, but I'm shopping. And I said, if I get lucky, who would take this guy? Look, I looked around, I saw that there's C.J. Abrams from the Washington Nationals. He's 25 years old. He'll be 26 in October. I'm looking at his stat. I said, that's the dude I want.
Will he show up to a game?
Well, I tell you what, at 25, he ain't missing any games.
Right.
I mean, it seems like every professional, regardless of sport, they know their situation. Even Anthony Davis, even Kawhi Leonard, guys that don't dress up and play, they show up.
Right.
They're on the bench.
Right.
I mean, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
what could keep Ketel? He's in Boston, people. He's not even at his home.
He supposedly was at the bar at 11 o'clock the evening before the game.
So Sunday night.
So Sunday night, the
That's
game
been
was on
reported.
Monday. He was there with a group of people, eyewitnesses say.
Okay.
But you're right. That's what I struggle with. The fact that, okay, if it's a death in the family, of course, take the day off. But
you still communicate it.
Yes. That it's the communication part that I don't get. And I had this theory. Well, first of all, let's stop because we can talk about this for the rest of the show. What's the breaking news?
Well, before we do that, because I have to set this up, it's about Marte and what they're doing with him.
Okay.
Throw those headphones on here. Here's Torey yesterday after the game. I want to show this because listen to it. I'm even more saying that Torey's covering this up yesterday, like kind of what Bruce said. I'm going to go even more that route, knowing what I know right now that you guys don't know.
Okay.
Here's yesterday after the game, Torey about Ketel Marte and how he didn't show up.
Earlier today, the lineup came out 15 minutes prior to the game, and then we saw that Ketel went on the restricted list. Can you take us through what happened?
Yeah, it's been a crazy day. All I know is that he's dealing with a personal issue. We're trying to figure that out, and he didn't show up today, and he was put on the restricted list. That's as much as I know right now. I'm sure in time we'll start to uncover and unravel some information, but yeah, I knew that there was something going on today when I met with you guys, but I still believe he was going to be here, and he just didn't show up.
Did you have communication with him?
Very little this morning, this afternoon, and yeah, I just was doing my best to reach out to him, and there's very little coming back.
He's here though in Boston.
This question's nuts.
You don't. Is he here?
I believe so. I'm not sure.
How disappointing is it that the communication wasn't relayed to you earlier?
We deal with a lot as baseball managers and coaches and teachers. So, you know, sometimes you get disappointed, sometimes you get let down, but we're gonna figure out how to work through this.
I know he had the restricted list placement last year because he had issues where he hasn't showed up on time. Or
No, this is the first time.
As far as you saw that have a bigger impact on the clubhouse, how do you feel the players responded to that?
You know, the players are gritty. They rally around one another. I know there was a lot of discussions about it at different points in time in the clubhouse today. There was a lot of curiosity. You know, we care for Ketel, and you know, once we knew he was okay, I think everybody relaxed and started to focus on the game. But you know, what was the final score? 10-1, 11-1. I mean, we got our ass kicked. We got to be better.
what do you think is the way forward for Ketel?
I don't know. Just care for him and love him.
That's telling right there.
When did you start to get?
Look at his eyes,
this
folks.
Might be, how did it come about where you realized he might not?
When I woke up this morning. So I want to keep that private though.
You seem a little emotional. Are you worried?
No, not really. I love him and I care for him. It'll be okay.
The longer he talked there, he started off with dry eyes, and the longer he talked, the more his eyes watered up. Things like that. So as we take our break here, I want you guys to think about that, because he said some true things there. As he said, he claims he knew there was an issue when he woke up this morning. That's bullcrap. It came up later. But here's the news for you. Yesterday, everybody was putting it out there. He was okay physically. He just didn't show up. Everybody was reporting that. Gambo was not there. Nick Pecora, who was there. Everybody was saying he's good physically. The breaking news this morning is Nick Pecora said 9 minutes ago, Ketel Marte is returning to Arizona to undergo an MRI on his knee. Come on back, folks. Second hour. We'll get Bruce's thoughts on that. Coming up next.